All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do just a small little test run of what this sounds like and looks like whenever I go ahead and look. I'm going to look at the charts. I am currently in a school setting right now, so I don't actually have the normal time to be able to check the charts. So I pushed out to the weekly, and I've just been doing two candle theory, support and resistance from there, and just watching it. I haven't been able to place any trades outside of Solana, but that's a different story. But that's where I'm at. And so I'm going to go ahead and just go through the markets, see what I can actually line up for this next week. And hopefully I can get into some rotation while I'm in class to be able to actually take some trades and not just sit back on the sidelines or come back at the evening time and be able to see how things would have played out when in actuality I probably could have taken that trade. Starting off with NZD-USD, and I'm only going NZD-USD just because it was at the top of my chart. This was a trade that I took a while ago, probably lower on the 4 hour, the daily time frame. I was looking for a bounce out of here. Never actually happened. I ended up closing early, but that's where it sits at. So it's at the top of my charts as one of the trades I was actively monitoring up here. And then, that didn't play out. And then I haven't taken a trade since. Once again, outside of Solana. I am in a Solana trade currently. This is all based on more of a daily 4 hour sort of thing. Got a bunch of markups here, but it looks like we might be getting back into somewhat of a trend to go back up and hopefully hit some of these previous highs that were here before. So we'll see how that goes. Not too concerned about it. This is one of my test runs with cryptocurrency, and I was mostly doing it for my cousin. So I will see how that goes. So NZD-USD. Jumping out to the weekly just to see where everything's at. So get a nice clear picture going here. And, we have this resistance area that price has bounced off of. It looks like we are going to continue down. So then the question would be, would I be able to get into anything? The current answer for that is probably not. The reason being is the last week's candle closed as a doji at this little support area, whatever you want to call it. If you look down on the daily and the 4 hour, it probably clears up a little bit better. This is another area, if you were to look at trends and everything like that, this is an area, this is like the last chance area for this trend to continue, if it's going to continue. And so I wouldn't necessarily be messing with this right now, especially, once again, the weekly previous candle closed like a doji candle, and so there's really nothing to work with. If I were to do anything as far as marking it up, this is what I would do. I would actually use the previous candle to work with. I would go with something like this. I want about 50% of this area here. Probably more to include the previous wick of that candle. That seems to be an area where it respected. So I would look at that. It'll probably clean up a little bit better when you get down to like a 4 hour. And then that's basically it. I would start with the open of that candle and extend that out. And then basically I am going down to the 4 hour and I want to clean all this up. And so when you look at it, that's generally that area right there. So this is what we're looking at. Something in and around here. If I'm expecting this price to go down, I would love to see it come back into this area here. And then I'd look to take a trade then. So that's what I have set up for NZD-USD. Looking for a bounce off this level here. We'll see how that goes. OddCAD, jump out to the weekly. Come back over here. So these previous candles, I've been marking them out. I was expecting this candle to be bearish. It closed bearish. This next candle, I would also expect to be bearish, at least to come down here and test this small support area. I don't know. I would probably, for whatever reason, this is a level here on the 4 hour. I would probably use that as well. And then I'm just going to mark up the high of that right there. And then I will come down. I will mark the open of that candle. So now we can jump down to the 4 hour, clean it up just a hair. And this is basically what we're looking at. So when it comes down to it, I would love to see price come into this level here. This is not a bad zone. You know, it wasn't respected around this area here, but it was respected as a small support, just a minor support whenever price did come. So there is some sensitivity here. And then this would be like the ultimate high, where if price gets in here, it could find whatever, for whatever reason, some rejection as well to go down. So if I had something, I would probably look to keep my stop loss above this area here, trailing down to, I didn't mark it up. Oh, actually I did. That about down there. So, I mean, that doesn't look like a bad setup. If you get into something right around here, stop loss down there, and then, you know, coming down here, you're looking at a, you know, 1 to 2. So, I mean, that's good. If you have a 50% win rate and you get 1 to 2s majority of your time, you are more than profitable. So I wouldn't even worry about it. With the 1 to 2, I think you can get to like 40%. You know, you can have a 40% win rate and be successful. I don't have the chart in front of me, but it's pretty nice. So I wouldn't worry about it. And then once again, if price started breaking up this, you can actually close a whole lot earlier before actually letting it come all the way to your stop loss. So there's that. Odd CAD. I'm probably not going to do this for. I'm not going to do this for every single pair, just because not on camera anyway. It's just going to take forever. And I don't necessarily want to do this, but this is the same process. I'm gonna look at the weekly, I'm gonna see where I think price would go, and I'm gonna use the previous weekly candle, if I can, to help find areas of interest that I will look to get into the market. This odd JPY, no idea. It looks like it's been channeling up into this area. I do expect some sort of break out of this area. But is it now? Is it later? Is it going to come back down here and do it again? Like, I have no idea. It's not as clean. Odd NCD. Odd NCD. Zoom into here. It looks like we came down here for whatever reason, whatever this zone is here, and it is bounced up and looks like it's going to go up. Obviously, last week, once again, this arrow right here is my previous week. I was expecting this week to close, or last week to close bullish. It did, not as strong as, you know, you would like, but really the idea is being, I don't necessarily need it to close huge bullish. What I need it to do is actually just go up. So if for some reason, same thing as before, if I had found my entry somewhere in here and just put a stop below here and then targeted something, I don't know what at this point in time, because there's really nothing. I probably would still be targeting for like a high here or even a continuation. But I mean, you'd be in profit, and you'd be well enough in profit that you could definitely secure some, if not all. Oh my goodness, yeah. I don't need the whole move. I just need a piece of the move. And so I'm not too concerned with it. With that being said, what is this week going to look like? I'm running into that same thing where this is more of a doji candle, so I'm going to use this. The beauty of it is this lines up with the previous spike, so I would use that as well. So ultimately, I'm expecting this next candle to go up as well, and I would like price to come down in here before coming up. And then I would be targeting either this level right here, because that's the next resistance level on the weekly time frame, or maybe even all the way up here. But this for sure would be the first place I would start to look. And if it looks like it's not going to continue through it, then I would go ahead and cut out early. So that's what we got there. And let's see. And do odd USD, and then I'll go ahead and, unless odd USD doesn't give me anything. So same concept here. If you see this little blue line, that is the blue arrow. I was expecting this candle, this next candle to go, or this candle to close bearish. It did, and actually came down pretty deep. And then I was expecting everything to trail down to this here, and it did. So it's like all a matter of finding these different areas. And as you can see, I usually shoot about 50% of the previous candle. 50% of this previous candle is there, and the wick is right about there. And I will look down on a lower time frame, clean it up a little bit, and then just try to get into the market, however that looks. give the market a little bit of breathing room, and then just roll with it. CAD JPY, nothing really. We're sort of at this resistance here, and there hasn't been any strong bearish moves off of this to make me confident enough to want to put in a bearish, start looking for bearish moves, sells, things like that. So be ignoring that one. I had a question mark here because I was not sure. I was expecting this candle to at least come up in here, and then I was expecting this next candle to also possibly come back up, but I wasn't sure. Why? Because we had this resistance area on the weekly, and so I'm testing this one to see how it would actually work out if I believe that I can get into a trade, even though I'm not 100% sure based upon previous candle. Should I just go ahead and do it? And so that's where, if you see a question mark, that's my game plan, but I'm not like 100% confident. And if I'm not confident with it, I'm probably going to avoid it, but at least track it. This one here is expecting bearish. It did become bearish. We got some closures there. Expect the price to come all the way down here. It did. What would I do now? Nothing. I'd be waiting for a bullish candle to close strong. That way I can do the next bullish candle and then track up higher. Euro JPY. I was expecting this candle here to close bullish, and it didn't. The question then being, what would that look like? So like, there's my zone. So if you look on the 4 hour, what did that look like? And here's the beauty of it. Even though price did not close the way I expected it to close, would my position still be safe? And with that being the case, I'd be expecting this candle to have gone higher, but now that it's closed bearish, I would be either looking to take profits now. I might look to see if price can come up and at least do 50%. If it can get 50% of that area there, then I would close there, because if it's going to do bearish, then it should create the wick first before flipping down. So it's like, oh, plus it gapped. It did gap up. So I'd actually have to look at that even more carefully. Yeah, so it hasn't created the top wick yet. So it may not, but like this would be a good area to be like, okay, I can either let it run risk-free, go break even, or I can just go ahead and secure profits now, and it wouldn't be that bad. Euro NZD, I said I wasn't going to go through all these, and I'm not going to. So same thing, I'm expecting price to just continue on. Last week I was expecting this to continue up. The next one did not. Would I have gotten into an entry here? Once again, about 50% of the candle is here. That's where I marked that up. I'm looking for the weekly there. Jump down to the 4 hour. Clean this up a little bit. This would be roughly here. I want to incorporate that. So you had a spike in, finally break above, bounce around. So this is roughly the zone. And so if you got into that zone there, I mean, yes, price did not close the way you expected it to close. Let's say we got into the top of the zone, a little bit beyond the zone. You're still at currently now 1 to 1.5. So if you're doing 1-to-1s, then you would have hit your profit. And so this is where it's all about getting into the market, seeing something happen over and over again, to the point that you feel confident that you can place the trade. And so that's all you got to do. Just get in there and make it happen. So that's it for the evening. I'm going to continue on going through my pairs, but if you aren't in the markets marking up your own pairs for your own strategy, or if you aren't in the markets just trying to learn to see how the market moves and what you see over and over again, then you're wrong. If you're just scrolling through YouTube trying to find the next trading strategy that you hopefully will win 100% of the time, or you just get really huge risk to reward ratios, stop it. Just get in the market and start marking up stuff, marking up what you think should happen, annotating it down somewhere, and then reviewing it. How often are you right? How often are you wrong? If you find out you're wrong a whole lot of times, well, guess what? You need to go back to something. Go study up on support resistance. Go study up on trend lines. Go study up on something that jumps out to you. Whatever it was that you were tracking, stop doing that, because obviously it doesn't work. Now, if it starts working for you, great. Do that. Just continue doing that. Become really, really good at one thing before you try to move on to another thing. And then that's it.